How's it going, guys? Welcome to episode 3 of my ultimate lightweight adventure bike build. This is my FE501, and in this episode we're going to be installing the Enduro Engineering Extreme Skid Plate. And I'm telling you right now, it is sexy. It is a really good looking bash plate, and I can't wait to install it and show you guys what it looks like. Alright, so this was shipped from America. Oh yeah. It's in its own packaging. Extreme skid plate, KTM Husqvarna. Nice. Enduro Engineering. Alright, get some hardware. You get some of the mounting hardware here, 2 pieces. You get 6 bolts and some self-adhesive tape. They also give you a little piece of paper that says make sure you basically clean the frame before putting the adhesive sticker on. Self-explanatory. A nice Enduro Engineering sticker. And then a pretty comprehensive instruction, 1 page, but really nice clear photos. But take a look at this. Take a look at those welds. Really awesome. Just looks amazing. Every piece obviously separately cut and then welded together. All the holes cut in there to obviously reduce the weight. It is pretty damn light, but it just looks like some really good quality. It looks amazing. I can't wait to get it on there and take off the stock bash plate. This looks amazing. It also still has the holes here so you can do your oil changes and take your oil filters out as well. You don't have to take the bash plate off, which is an absolute bonus. But yep, let's get it on the bike. Okay, the first step is obviously to remove the original bash plate. And it's just an 8mm socket. I'm just going to use my impact driver quickly and take it off. And there you go. It has seen a little bit of action. No major cracks, but definitely time to upgrade it probably. Alright, so the first step after you've taken the bash plate off, the original bash plate, it's not on the instructions, but it's on that little piece of paper I showed you before. And this is where you put the adhesive, the self-adhesive, onto the frame. Now when you unwind it, mine at least had a separate, had two pieces. So after I unwinded all the adhesive at the last bit, there was a strip, and that seems to be the same width of the frame between the foot pegs. And then the other two, then the other length, I just rolled it out, folded it in half, and then cut it in the center to get 2 equal lengths. So now I've got 3 pieces, and I'm just going to adhere them. I've already cleaned the frame with my WD-40, used a rag, cleaned the frame, and then used a clean rag to clean it again, just to take off any oily residue. So I'm going to go ahead and put these on, and then we can start attaching the actual bash plate. Okay, the first part, once you've put the adhesive strips on, is to mount this part. Now this just sits against here in the front of the frame, and the front of the bash plate bolts to this. So this is going to sit here loose. I'm just going to sit it there. Also worth mentioning is that, I don't know if you can see that, but it has a cutout here, so that obviously sits against the frame. So as long as the 24016, I'm going to have that facing upwards, and I'm just going to slide it in there and let it sit. Now the next part involves attaching this rear hook, which actually mimics the original bash plate. It's the same thing. That's going to sit here, and we're just going to bolt it in quickly, and then we're going to fit the bash plate. So these are the two M8 by 20s that we're going to use to bolt this on. I'm going to put them in there. I'm just going to line up this hook. Now obviously the hook, the actual hook section needs to face the rear of the bike. So we're going to put it on the back facing the rear. Now I'm going to read the instructions again. Yeah. Okay, look, it doesn't say anything about Loctite. I was going to use some Loctite on it, but apparently it doesn't need it. Okay, so I've got it on there, it's nice and loose. You need to keep it loose so you can actually fit it on. Then you tighten it down. So for now, I'm going to leave it loose, and then I'm going to now slide the bash plate on. Okay, it goes on pretty easily there. So the other flat hex head bolts, these look like M8 by, I don't know, 45 or something. They go into that bracket that we left up at the top. And what I found is, if you slide that bar here in the front, just above, there's a little section of the engine that just protrudes. It just sits there on top of it. You don't have to hold it. When you go to put the bash plate on now, it actually sits there perfectly, and you don't have to stuff around with your fingers trying to hold it while you put that other bolt in. It seems to be purposely built. Okay, I'm going to quickly tighten these bolts a little bit, and then there's just two more that go into the stock position of where the original bash plate came off, and it should be good to go. Alright, so it's on there nice and tight now. The one little error I made, this adhesive tape, I put it all along the length of the frame. But like I just said before, it has 6 bolts, and the 2 actually go back into the original mounting points. Now obviously I've put the adhesive tape over the entire length of the frame, and I've covered that hole now. So all I did was get a screwdriver and just push a hole back through into the same position where the original mounts are, the original mounting point for the bash plate is, just to pop a hole through that adhesive. And I'll now go ahead and mount the bolts. So this actually is held onto the frame with, I guess, 6 bolts, 2 in the rear, 2 up here for that mounting bracket, and then 2 on the original. So it's going to be pretty damn rigid. One thing that is going to make this easier when you do finally locate these 2 top bolts is loosening, well, not loosening the others, but the other 4, not tightening them fully. So just by having them a little bit loose, you can move the bash plate around a little bit to better locate these 2. I found that really useful because it is quite a tight fit. Not in a bad way, but I guess in a good way. It's really designed well. Okay, and that's it. All 6 bolts are on. I'm just going to go around now and tighten them all. At some point I might even add some Loctite. The instruction manual, I'm reading it again for a 5th time. It doesn't say anything about any Loctite, but I always like putting Loctite on the bash plate. On my last 690 KTM, I always had 1 or 2 bolts off the bash plate actually fall out during a ride or a trip. So I might go around again and just put some Loctite on them. But other than that, it's on there, and I think it's looking good. I'll flick up a few photos now of it mounted, for you to see what it looks like. But yeah, it's definitely a solid, really nice piece of kit. But that's it, guys. I hope this helped you if you've just bought one to install it. Otherwise, perhaps it's given you a nice look at this alternative bash plate for your 500 if you are looking to buy one. Well, thanks for watching this installation, episode 3, putting the bash plate on. There's 3 tips that I can give you when you're installing this Enduro Engineering Extreme skid plate. Number 1, when you're putting the adhesive on, make sure you just skip the original mounting points for the original skid plate. When you put those bolts back in, it really is a bitch when you've covered it. Trust me, I know. You have to get the screwdriver in there and try and find the hole and then try and get the bolt in past the adhesive. It's a pain. Just leave a gap from the beginning. Second tip, when you're putting those last 2 bolts in, the other 4 bolts that are in there already, leave them super loose. It gives you a lot of play in the bash plate to locate those 2 holes for the last 2 original bolts. And thirdly, I'd probably use Loctite. I do it on all my bikes, on all their bash plates. I put a little bit of Loctite on the bolts before you tighten them up, just for a little bit more added security. Other than that, I think it was about 200 Australian dollars shipped. Took 2 weeks to get here, and yeah, it's great quality. It's nice thick aluminium, well designed. Well, if I wasn't filming, I honestly would have probably taken 10 minutes to fit. Everything lined up perfectly. I didn't have to alter anything. It just came right on. And like I was saying at the beginning, it's got the gaps for the oil sump, the filter screens. Now the oil filter on this side, I might have to modify the bash plate a little bit to be able to pull the oil filter out completely. I'll have a go when I next change the oil, but I might have to bend it out a bit or just cut out a little section so I can pull it out. When I'm out in the middle of nowhere, I don't have to take the bash plate off to take the oil filter out, right? So a little bit of modification there I think will help, and I won't have to take it off. But yeah, 6 mounting points, super solid. Just a really good product, and a good alternative to Force and B&B, other products like that. But thanks for watching, guys. I've got a lot more to install on this bike, and I appreciate you guys watching, and hopefully I can get this bike out after COVID ends and do some really nice riding.